Hey everyone, this is Mike and welcome to Red Mage in 4 minutes. First off, we need to talk about dual cast, the passive that you will be playing around. Every time that you cast a spell, the next one will not have a cast time. We play into this by using short spells to proc dual cast and then using the passive on longer spells. So for single target it goes as follows. Jolt is our basic fast spell that we will be using to proc dual cast if we don't have any other buffs ready. Jolt will also increase our black and white mana gauge by 3. We will then want to be spending our dual cast on either Arrow or Thunder, our two long cast spells. Arrow will increase the white mana gauge by 11 and Thunder will increase the black mana gauge by 11 as well. Both of these spells have a 50% chance to grant you a buff that allows us to use a new spell. Arrow can proc Stone and Thunder can proc Fire. These two will be replacing Jolt as our fast casting spell to proc dual cast, and they each increase our black or white mana gauge by 7 respectively. So you use Jolt to start off, then spend dual cast on Arrow or Thunder, then you use Fire or Stone if they procced, and if they didn't proc, you just go back to using Jolt and then use that dual cast proc on Arrow or Thunder, rinse and repeat. We want to make sure that we balance our mana gauges as we are building them up, as too big of an imbalance will make it harder to generate the lesser mana, so try to keep it somewhat balanced. Once we have both black and white mana to 80 or above, we can use our melee combo. We can use our mana gauge skills without having enough gauge for them, but you almost always want to use the enchanted version of your skills, so make sure that you have enough gauge for them. Before we go into our combo though, you want to create a slight imbalance in your gauges, and you'll see why in just a moment. So the combo goes as follows. We have a 3-part melee combo, of which each skill has a very short recast timer, so only allowing for 1 of global cooldown between each hit, after which you can use one of 2 finishers, Holy or Flare. The one that you want to use is dictated by your mana gauges, as you want to use the spell that is tied to your lowest mana gauge, hence why we want that slight imbalance. Holy will then increase your white mana gauge by 21 and Flare will increase your black mana gauge by 21. If the spell that you used is also the correct one, then you are also guaranteed a Fire or a Stone proc. If it wasn't the correct one, then it's only a 20% chance, I believe. After using Flare or Holy, you can also use Scorch, which will end your burst, increasing both mana gauges by 7. We still have 2 more skills that we can spend our mana on. Moulinet is our AoE spender, you can just spam this one, and Reprise is a single target spender, again you can spam this one as well, and it also is an instant cast. So you can use this to dump some mana gauge when needed, and also for movement or to use an off-global cooldown. Let's also quickly touch upon our AoE combo. Thunder 2 is our black mana starter, increasing the gauge by 7, and Arrow 2 is the same but for white mana, and then we want to use our dual cast proc on Impact, which increases both gauges by 3. So let's round it off by looking at our other abilities. Cora Core is our gap closer, this one also does damage, so you want to use it on cooldown. Displacement is our backflip, again does damage, so you want to try to use it on cooldown, but in case you cannot backflip or you want to use 2 of global cooldowns in the same window, then we can use Engagement instead, a slightly weaker ability. Both of these abilities share a recast timer. Flash is a single target ability, Contra Sixt does AoE damage, and Acceleration will guarantee the next 3 Fire or Stone procs, so taking away a little bit of RNG out of the rotation. Cure is a single target heal, and this one actually heals a fairly decent amount, so it's good to use in emergency scenarios. You also have a raise, which can be made instant using dual cast, allowing you to raise multiple people in very quick succession. Embolden is your raid buff, which buffs your magic damage by 10% and your party's physical damage by 10%. Every 4 seconds that pass, these effects are reduced by 20%. And then we also have Manification, which will double your mana gauges, reset the cooldown of Cora Core and Displacement, as well as grant you a 5% damage buff. Last but not least, we also have our role actions. Addle reduces the magic damage output of your target by 10%, Swift Cast will make the next spell instant cast, Lucid Dreaming regenerates mana, and Sure Cast negates most knockbacks. And that does it for Red Mage in 4 minutes, so I want to thank you for watching, I want to thank my Patreons for their support, and I'll see you in the next one.